How do you explain the downfall of a company that once seemed invincible? Arctic Cat was the undisputed leader of the snowmobile world, a company that not only defined the sport, but also set the standard for innovation and adventure. But fast forward to 2025, and the same company made a jaw-dropping announcement: production was shut down.
Temporarily stop production and will likely cut much of their workforce.
Arctic Cat in Thief River Falls manufactures snowmobiles and ATVs. It lost $10 million on sales of $105 million during the first quarter of this year.
The snowmobile giant that once raced through the competition is now stuck in the snow, unable to move forward. How did this happen? Was it fierce competition, corporate missteps, or did Arctic Cat lose sight of the very essence? We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Do you enjoy the video? Your support means the world to us. Help us grow and hit that subscribe button. Thanks to you. That made it a legend. This is the story of Arctic Cat. A thrilling rise, a devastating fall, and a haunting question. How did the king of snowmobiles fall so far? In the icy wilderness of Minnesota, a vision was born. In 1960, Edgar Hetien founded Arctic Cat with one goal: to revolutionize winter recreation. His creation, the Arctic Cat 1000, wasn't just a snowmobile, it was a game changer. Combining raw power with innovative design, it set a new standard in snowmobiling. Through the 60s and 70s, Arctic Cat grew rapidly, becoming a household name in the snowmobiling world. Models like the Panther and Lynx were adored for their performance, and by the 80s, Arctic Cat had established itself as a dominant force. The company seemed unstoppable, poised to lead for decades to come. But just as quickly as Arctic Cat rose, it faced an unexpected crisis. The early 80s brought economic downturns, rising fuel prices, and changing consumer tastes. The snowmobile industry crumbled under the pressure. In 1981, Arctic Cat filed for bankruptcy. A shocking fall for a brand that once seemed untouchable. The company was on the brink of disappearing, but Arctic Cat wasn't done yet. In 1983, Arctic Cat emerged from the ashes, restructuring under the name Arctco and slowly regaining its foothold. By 1984, they were back in business, stronger than ever. Their comeback became a symbol of resilience, and by the 1990s, they expanded into all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, and side-by-side vehicles, UTVs, continuing to innovate and attract new customers. In 2017, Arctic Cat's future took another sharp turn when Textron Inc. acquired the company for $247 million. This acquisition gave Arctic Cat the financial backing it needed to launch new innovations. In 2023, they unveiled the Catalyst chassis, a breakthrough design praised for its lightweight and durability. Arctic Cat was back on top, at least for a moment. But even the strongest empires face challenges. In December 2024, Arctic Cat shocked the world by announcing the suspension of production at its Minnesota plants. Economic uncertainties and shifting market conditions had taken their toll. The company that once dominated the snowmobile world found itself on the brink once more. Fans and dealers were left wondering, how did it all go wrong? By February 2025, things looked even more uncertain. Textron began exploring strategic alternatives, including the potential sale of the brand. The future of Arctic Cat, once an iconic name, hung in the balance. Was this the end of a legend, or could Arctic Cat rise once again? The journey of Arctic Cat, from the heights of snowmobile glory to its dramatic struggles, reminds us that even the most iconic brands aren't immune to the forces of time, market shifts, and competition. Will Arctic Cat find a way to survive? Or is its story destined to end? Only time will tell. As Arctic Cat fought to reclaim its place in the market after its 1981 bankruptcy, the road ahead was anything but easy. Rebranded as Arctco, the company faced a rapidly changing industry. The snowmobile world, once dominated by a few key players, was now seeing an influx of competition. But the biggest shift was the rise of all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, and side-by-sides, UTVs, markets that Arctic Cat had never anticipated needing to enter. In the late 80s and early 90s, Arctic Cat made its move into ATVs and UTVs, hoping to tap into new markets to stay afloat. While these vehicles gained some traction, the snowmobile market remained fickle, and the company still struggled financially. It wasn't just about making great products. It was about surviving in an industry that demanded constant innovation. The company's once loyal fan base was being swarmed by competitors offering similar products. The stakes were high and the margins were thin. Despite the challenges, Arctic Cat remained resilient. By the late 90s and early 2000s, the company was introducing new snowmobile models that were both cutting-edge and well-received. The F-Series and Pro Cross snowmobiles were hailed for their sleek designs and superior handling. In 2012, Arctic Cat made another bold move by entering the UTV market with the Wildcat series. The Wildcat quickly became a standout, praised for its power and agility. Arctic Cat seemed to be on the brink of a major comeback. As Arctic Cat clawed its way back into the spotlight, the world began to shift beneath its wheels. The once unrivaled snowmobile giant found itself battling against forces it couldn't control. Could it possibly hold on to its crown, or was the world simply moving on without it?
In 2017, Textron Inc. swooped in with a $247 million deal, a lifeline that breathed new life into the struggling brand. With fresh resources in hand, Arctic Cat rolled out the Catalyst chassis in 2023, an awe-inspiring snowmobile that promised to set the world on fire. Lighter, faster, stronger, this was supposed to be Arctic Cat's moment of redemption. But as the first roar of engines faded, a haunting question lingered. Was it enough to reclaim the throne? Despite the fanfare, the snowmobile world had shifted beneath Arctic Cat's feet. The rise of ATVs and UTVs wasn't just a trend, it was a revolution. As these machines surged in popularity, Arctic Cat, with its focus still firmly on snowmobiles, found itself in a fight for survival. Could it adapt to the new landscape, or was the market leaving it in the dust? The winds of change were howling, and Arctic Cat, once the king of winter, was struggling to keep up. Then, in December 2024, the unthinkable happened. Arctic Cat, just as it seemed to regain its footing, halted production at its legendary plants in Thief River Falls and St. Cloud, Minnesota. A cold, hard reality hit the powersports world. The company that had once defined adventure and freedom was now at a crossroads. Was this the beginning of the end for the iconic brand that had once raced ahead of all competition? Or could it somehow find its way back? The clock was ticking, and by February 2025, Arctic Cat's fate hung in the balance. Textron began exploring strategic alternatives, including the possibility of selling the brand. Was this the final curtain for a company that had once been an unstoppable force? Could Arctic Cat be reborn under new ownership? Or was this simply the last gasp of a fading giant? The questions swirling around Arctic Cat became darker and more urgent. What went wrong? How did the mighty fall so far? And most haunting of all, can Arctic Cat survive in a world that no longer cares about tradition? The answers were elusive, but one thing was clear: time was running out. Yet even in the depths of uncertainty, there was still a spark. Arctic Cat had always been a pioneer. The Catalyst chassis could still be its saving grace, the breakthrough that would thrust the brand back into the limelight. But the harsh truth was undeniable. The market was evolving faster than Arctic Cat could keep up. Could it catch the rising tide of change, or was it too late to adapt? And then came the rumors. Whispers that perhaps Arctic Cat had lost its way. Competitors like Polaris and Ski-Doo were relentlessly expanding their reach, pushing the envelope with innovative designs and technology that Arctic Cat, despite its groundbreaking history, couldn't seem to match. Were these competitors simply too powerful to overcome? Could Arctic Cat even catch up, let alone surpass them? Amid all the turbulence, one question kept echoing through the powersports world. Could Arctic Cat reinvent itself, or was it doomed to become a relic of a bygone era? And yet, even as doubts clouded the brand's future, one thing remained undeniable. Arctic Cat's name was etched in the history of powersports. For generations, the brand had been synonymous with innovation, freedom, and adventure. The very idea of Arctic Cat was tied to the spirit of winter exploration, a thrill that had inspired riders across the world. But now, with every passing day, that spirit seemed to dim. Arctic Cat had always been on the cutting edge, but could it still be the trendsetter? The company faced an uphill battle, not just against the competition, but against its own legacy. Could a brand defined by its past still thrive in the future? Or would it become a forgotten name, a cautionary tale about the dangers of not adapting fast enough? For years, Arctic Cat had been the leader. But was it still capable of leading, or was the end of its reign near? Could Textron find a way to reinvigorate the brand, or would they have to let go of a once proud name? And perhaps most importantly, will Arctic Cat rise again? Or will the brand become a distant memory, a shadow of its former self? The answers to these questions remained shrouded in uncertainty, but the stakes couldn't be higher. One thing was clear: whatever happened next would determine the future of one of the most legendary names in powersports history. As the questions surrounding Arctic Cat's future continued to swirl, another reality began to set in. Could the company's legacy be its greatest strength or its greatest weakness? For decades, Arctic Cat had been the go-to name in snowmobiles, but now it was struggling to reinvent itself in an industry that was evolving at lightning speed. The very innovations that had once set the brand apart, pioneering designs, cutting-edge technology, and performance, were now overshadowed by competitors who had embraced the future faster than Arctic Cat ever could. The market was no longer just about performance. It was about what was next. Was Arctic Cat stuck in the past? Could it find new ways to innovate, to push the envelope, and to redefine itself as a leader in a world where snowmobiles were no longer the dominant vehicle in the powersports world? Or was it too late? As Arctic Cat's struggles reached their peak, the question that hung over the company wasn't just about its products. It was about its soul. What had once been a symbol of adventure, freedom, and excitement now stood at a crossroads. Could Arctic Cat rediscover the passion and drive that made it the giant it once was? Or would it fade, a shadow of its former self, as the world moved on? The clock was ticking, and Arctic Cat's future was more uncertain than ever before.